our listening audience out there, and those that will follow us again tonight for some of the things, I would like to just have a chat about one of the major trending issues of today. In fact, I would say pending 24 hours from now. It has to do with the national census, that for which tomorrow has been declared a national holiday. I will briefly touch on about 5 or 6 issues, then make a couple of conclusive remarks that I think will send a very strong message, and then of course I'll make myself available to answer 1 or 2 questions that you may have around the subject matter. First, let me welcome the whole idea of Liberia going back to understanding the language of our population. I would also like to welcome the current efforts that have been made to make sure that we conduct this 2022 census in our country. And in so doing, I would then just touch on some of the major concerns that are in the minds of people who know about census, those who have some anxiety about census, and those who have to utilize the results of the census. I would like to perhaps say that there are some glaring concerns, and I want to touch on those concerns. And I'm here speaking in the capacity of my own knowledge about census. Census is constitutional, as we know, and I have been involved in at least 3 censuses of this country. In 2 of the capacities, I was one of the staff members working on the ground for the census. In the latest one, which is this last census, I was the census commissioner. That means the chief person. I will talk about the census managerial structure later, because a major concern as well. Let me also let you know that I'm a member of Team Cummings, and in my brief exchange with him, Mr. Alexander Cummings, this few hours ago, he has also asked me to indicate that he shall issue a formal statement shortly on this particular matter. But for now, let me touch on a few things. Let me start with the importance of a census. With census. Is it important? Some people say, okay, it's constitutional. But that element of constitutionality of it has some element of importance. It's not just something that is constitutional. And if it is important, then it should be a census that is credible. Because if it is not credible, then the importance has lost its salt. There are 7 reasons, 7 critical reasons why it is important to have a good and credible, reliable census. 1, resource allocation and distribution. In other words, if a country has to make a decision, a government has to make a decision, individual business person has to make a decision as to where to spend their money, how to allocate how much, and where to send it. You need the results of the census. You need to have an idea of how many people where those people are, and what type of social things you want to send over there. You want to open your businesses, you have to know where they are scattered. And so it is so important that for you to allocate your resources and distribute them, not just government resources, even private resources, to allocate them and distribute them, you need census results. Credible, reliable census results. You have to also know, the second point, it is important to know the demographic status of your country. Here we're talking about how many children, age group, male, female. You see, because if you don't know that whole demographic structure of your population, how do you talk about schools? How do you talk about where to put the school, kindergarten school? If you just walk blankly, as we've been doing over some years now. So the whole question of knowing census results will help you to know your demographic status, will help you to make some sound political, economic, and social decisions. Number three, you have to also know the socio-economic status of your people. So it is under the census we know unemployment rate, we know businesses location, we know who is making what. You have income in there. We know whether you're in school or you're not in school. So it is also good for policy making. Now, when you keep just using the word census, we keep using the word census, but it's not the only word. The exercise that we are discussing is called housing and population census. Housing and population. I spoke about the population where you know the structure of the population age-wise. So you have to go to the housing. In other words, when you do a census, you are now talking about how many houses we have. Those houses, how many bedrooms in them, whether they have running water, or they don't have running water, whether they have roof, they don't have roof. So it talks about this housing and population. And what does that do? It's good to know your social and economic structures around you. When you're talking as a country, when they say the government is going to so country and we'll talk about Liberia, that government should have some kind of indicative idea about the structure of their country. The houses, how many houses we got made out of mud? How many houses just built zinc shacks? How many houses concrete? These are the kinds of things census will bring out. Now, the other reason you want to go and mobilize resources, you want to go and talk with the World Bank, you want to go and talk with bilateral, another country government, to go ask for money. But they ask you, how many people you got in your country? And you start scratching your head. Or you get a figure that is not correct. And then when they cross-check behind you, you're giving them the wrong information. You have lost credibility. So you need census results to be able to carry out effective negotiations, making your case to the outside world to be able for them to give you some resources. Now, number 6, making comparative analysis. So we have Liberia, there's Sierra Leone, there's Ghana, there's Nigeria, there's China. So somehow, every country, at all times, and we're all fighting for the resources in the entire world, we make comparative analysis. Liberia got 5 million people, Nigeria got 120 million people. So very well we begin to see the dynamics of development challenges, we begin to see the dynamics of what it takes to be able to make a comparative analysis. So if your census results are not credible, they are not reliable, and you're going out there to make comparative analysis with what's happening in Ghana, then of course you got a problem. And so that's number 6. And the last But most importantly, the last that I'm going to list, but extremely important, has to do with political representation. Census results, political representation of constituencies. If you notice, we got House of Representatives, right? Our Constitution says all counties, whether you're small county, big county, you got 2 senators. That one is fair. So whether we have census or not, you got 2 senators. The same Constitution says you must have representatives representing at least 20,000 people. That's why a small county in terms of population, like River said, big inland or small in population, has 2 representatives. Then you got Maserati. Maserati population allows Maserati to get 17 districts, so that's 17 representatives. So you see why it's important. If you did not do the census over 10 years, over 15 years, and people have migrated back and forth, people have died, and so forth, if you didn't do a census, you cannot determine whether you have 9 representatives, Nimba has 9, Riverside has 2. Maybe since we took the last census, 2018, was it 2018? 2008. On the basis of that, we are now talking about 2 representatives. Suppose the population has tripled, and you still give them 2 representatives, then you are breaking the Constitution. Because the Constitution says, for each 20,000 people, 1 person will come and represent them. That's what it means. That's why some counties are good, some counties are very little. In the absence of census, reliable census data, you got a problem with that. So this is why people talk about census. These 6 things I gave you are very, very important. Not just talk about it, but to talk about the reliability of the census. Today, we find ourselves looking at the census conduction right in front of us. Tomorrow is supposed to begin. The problem is how well are we prepared to manage and administer the census. I'm using 2 words here, to manage and then to administer the census. You know, census is not unique to Liberia, it's an international phenomenon. People do it all over the world. And they do it with each precise given time. The international institution expects you to do it every 10 years, and you look at the results. And they use those results and say, to negotiate. Now, all lessons of experience, country after country, the structure they put in place to manage and administer the census are as follows. First of all, there are the major actors. And I've seen this because if we ask the question, now, who are those major actors involved with what we're supposed to do tomorrow? Maybe they are there, but publicly, we have not heard of it. As I told you some time ago, I was chairman of the last census. And I know that in a week, 3 days a week, that team was hit. Because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to be done to ensure reliability, accuracy, and the kinds of things you do in terms of even publishing your results. So, I keep hearing on the radio, I keep hearing people talk about, oh, the DJ's chairman. I think you must have heard that too. Last school had a program. They had a good program and they kept focusing on the chairman of DJs. Let me clarify something here. Villages is an institution, it's a statistical gathering institution. Whether you are conducting census or not, Villages has a mandate, and Villages is doing mandate, carry out survey, economic survey, income survey. So many things are happening at Villages. Villages has a board, constitutional board, by the act that creates it. And it has a chairman of that board. When Villages was formed, we used to have two ministries separate, planning and finance. So the Minister of Planning was the chairman of Villages. And for some interesting coincidence, Brother Brown, I was the organizing chairman of Villages. Because at that time, I was the Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs. And we created Villages. When I say we, I went and made a case, got the house, put the money together, mobilized the money, everything, and started the office. My deputy minister for statistics was the one who sent there to go the director general. And according to the act, the minister of planning, the minister that is responsible for planning, is the chairman of Villages. Years later, we combined planning and finance. So it makes the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, are you following me? The chairman of Villages. That's one aspect. And that's why today, Mr. Twe is the one who is the chairman of Villages, the planning aspect. Then comes the census. When the census comes about anywhere in the world, you set up census commissioners. Census commissioners. Villages got his board. Then the census commissioners are there for that period in which the census is being organized and executed. Now, the commissioner's chair is also the chair of Villages. So when we are talking this issue, and the minister is speaking about it, we should be speaking about it in the context of the commission, not the board of Villages. So the census commissioner, they have the policy guidance role to play. They are the one who determine the direction. They are the policy makers when it comes to census. Generally, on that commissioner, you know there, you got government to chair, which is the minister. You got the elders and the chiefs. The elders, that chief elder we got, they will nominate one or two persons onto the commission. Why? Because census affect their people in the rural area. You got the donors who put their money in the basket. They want to be on that commission to keep their eye on it. You got Villages itself now, the technocrats of Villages. You got them on it, the head of Villages. You got the private sector. Because you remember we talked about distribution of goods and distribution of business around. The private sector is a member of that commission. Nominate somebody out of the Chamber of Commerce or you find it in the Liberia Business Association. Then you have civil society. These people are put together to manage and administer the census. Then now you have the technical team. The technical team. These are now the statisticians. These are the fee supervisors. These are the enumerators. That's the census team, the technical team. And they are composed of advisors. And in almost all censuses around the world, you have technical advisors seconded by the United Nations. Even the one we have here now, the last time I checked, when I was in the building, I think there were 7 or 8 of them in town to help us carry out this process. Now, they plan the program, and then they also develop what we call the census material. That is, questionnaire and all the things you need. I'm saying all of these things to ask the question down the road. Are we ready? Then you have the population itself. Can you imagine they're coming to a country in your house and you haven't been involved in the planning process? I left my house today and I was trying to find the census number on my house. I don't know. Do you have them on your house? Anybody have seen the census number on their house? No. Some people shaking their head, no. I didn't see mine. By this time, every house will have a pole. By this time, every single house should have a pole. That pole comes about from the mapping, which, as far as I know, was done some years and some months ago. In the absence of a pole, how do you check whether they need my house or not? How will we know? Like this morning they were at my house. Because there is no number, there's no page with my number in their books. So something is the population themselves, and then the population should be excited about it. So the farmer is supposed to go to his farm. He said, no, I'm not going to the farm today. I want to be counted. Somebody must excite that person. And that whole process of exciting that person, I don't know where we are, but I'm not excited yet. And I think I know some of the sense. I don't know how many of you here have started ready not to go to your farm tomorrow and wait for them to come and count you. So the population is at stake. That's one of the key players. Now, fourth thing that I want to talk about quickly, and I'll soon be done, then you can ask me all the questions you want to ask me, is how do we ensure the quality of this coming census? How do we ensure it? There are certain measures and there are certain things you safeguard the process. Because if your figures are not reliable, if your figures are not credible, all that effort we made is in vain. So this is where we have today's concerns. Those of us and many other both national and international partners, we have some concerns on that issue. First, let's get concerned about the level of efficiency. Level of efficiency. So that when we look at the preparation stage, which has taken us 2-3 years to prepare for this one day. In fact, 2018, when the new government took over, 2018, this process has started. It started in 2017. 2017. And I know that because I'm also in government. I want to negotiate the resources. So by 2018, the UNFPA, the World Bank, those other institutions, the USAID, they have already had commitments made. So like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5 years, we are preparing to have a census. 5 years. Now, that thing can happen in the preparation. It cannot and it should not happen in the execution. Are you following me? The point of preparing and then executing. If you took 5 years to just prepare yourself to go and execute something that normally, traditionally, generally, a census is 1 day. Because the definition of that thing is how many people are in Liberia as at November 10th. That is the question. And that's why the census is important. activity bingo on that day. The preparations to get you to that day will take you 2 years. But the day of counting, you will have enough enumerators covering certain blocks. The person cover from here to here. The person cover from here to here. For $5 million. So people, that will keep guessing our population. For me, if you put good planning and programming together, you should be able to start it in 1 day. Enumerators have to be found. Look at the complexities of the numerator issues we have as of this morning. Then we must ensure that the data integrity, processing, and the whole question of verification, and then publication. You know, I'm using these statistical terms, but they are time processes. The integrity of the data will depend on my coverage and the way I have demarcated the areas. If those things are not done as now, credibility becomes an issue. Credibility becomes an issue of the data. So here we find ourselves verification, publication, to publish census results. After they come from the field, there should be a group of technicians doing the cross-check, making sure they put it against the backing results, and all of these things, until they say, yes, we certify these are the stuff. If they don't do that, and you publish your statistics, you know, you publish it on a shaky ground. Now, the fifth thing I want to say that I conclude is, how do I ensure that these inefficiencies I talked about, these problems I talked about, how do we ensure that they do not happen? Somebody can tell me right now that on the eve of the national census, that graduate advice was in hold because the case cannot take place, you know, within 24 hours. But at the same token, how can we ensure that it doesn't happen? There are some underlying factors that will be responsible. One is quality. Quality here means you have skills, you have knowledge, you have the competence to do the job. Honest. You are not there to cut corners and cheat and steal and do anything. You are honest about it. Corruption free. There's no corruption thing hanging over you with the people's money. This census management team and the field officers must have these three critical factors. Quality, your skills and your knowledge of being a census person, a statistician, a demographer, or someone who is a good sociologist. A good sociologist should be able to do this kind of thing. A demographer should be able to do this thing. A good statistician should be able to do this thing, particularly a good applied statistician, not a mathematical statistician, but an applied statistician should be able to do these things. Then that team should be earnest with the resources, earnest to the people, that yes, we can do it. Not to go and sit under the tree and then fill the form and bring them to the base. Believe it or not, it's not just census, but in this country we have seen experiences where people go on the field to do surveys, they go in the beer bar or a restaurant, they eat, and then they fill the forms and they walk away. So one needs all of these things. And maybe I better stop. I want to make my conclusion. But let me stop, let's interact. And then I will make my conclusive remarks. Okay, so you want to your podium.
Thank you very much. No, I was just on the start. Thank you very much for your understanding and your patience. And I think we'll go straight to the issue, straight to what the discussion is focused on, the critical issues that Dr. McIntosh raised. And let's go straight into it. You put your hand up, you are recognized, you give your name and your institution. Yes.
Okay, so my name is Emmanuel Koshi from Spoon TV. From all indication, you have vast knowledge of what censor is, from just lecturing on. But what is the essence of this discussion today? I mean, was there at any point that you try to give your idea to the national government on issue like this, or have you observed anything that the censors or the legislature is not following some of these things that you outlined?
I like the question. I like the person who asked the question, because over the last 1 month and maybe 1 month plus, Spoon TV has consistently put on the table of discussion the issue of the census. 80% of the discussions have been going in the direction of misapplication or alleged misapplication of resources. And just about small element of it is going to what I call the technical, professional analysis of the training issue. So I felt up to last night when I listened to it, the debate is on just one side, and I'm saying to say, no, there's the technical side to the story. And those are the technical side I dealt with. So the question of census, the public needs to know the importance of census. In the old days, when they started the word census, in biblical days too, it was to collect taxes. So people used to hide when census was coming. So over the years, by the time we got to the 50s and the 60s, we began to change the orientation and say, no, it is for redistribution of resources. So get involved. So your question, no, there's no material motive other than it's today's trending issue. But one side of it has been focused on. Now focusing on the other side.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. McIntosh. Theo Williams, and I report for the US-based Focus on Liberia Online television network. I sat and listened to you brilliantly outline out of the steps that constitutes a credible census. I'd like to know from you, if you were asked to make a comparative analysis of your tenure as Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs at the time to now, with regards to the census, what would you say honestly?
Look, I would say, and I think it's fair enough for me to say what I would say. When you are to carry out a technical, professional mandate, one, you either have what I call, you must have the weight in terms of the knowledge and the skills of that particular exercise you must undertake, like your area. If you put me now to do what you do, I will be fumbling. Economists call it, I'll be mottling. So when I was going census, I came to that particular position because of my background on the census. And for your information, I have a certificate, a diploma, high-level diploma in statistics. I have a bachelor's degree in statistics. I worked 4 years with the UN as a statistician. And then I came back and then I went to economics. Not just economics, I went into applied economics, research. So I was more excited of being a census commissioner. Now today, we find ourselves, the wages that was created has been depleted in terms of capacity. I just got through doing not just a year ago, I did a human resources analysis of wages. And I was looking for the statisticians. I was looking for them. In our days, in that same digit outfit, we had nothing less than 30 statisticians, masters, PhD, statistical analysis, survey design. So these things are no longer any day now.
Yes.
Yeah, the lady there.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I'm Vanessa from FM. So, you being a census commissioner, what's your recommendation? Do you want cancellation or do you want a permanent for protection? Cancellation. Do you want it to be cancelled with what at least 20 recommendations?
No, I think I want to use the word cancel. When you say cancel, you mean there should be no census.
Yeah. Others are also calling on for it.
You what?
Others are calling on to be postponed or cancelled.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm coming to like when you say cancel. Whether you like it or not, we must know our population dynamics. We must know our housing dynamics, the profile of our housing, the distribution of our people. So it is mandatory by the Constitution.
Yes.
What one will have to do is to make sure some of these challenges are picked up. Can they be rectified? Can they be handled? If you put a group of technicians in the room right now, they say, let's take them one by one. And can we do that? If the answer is yes, we can do that between now and it's 10 days here. We put a 10-day period. If we can answer those questions and do that, then of course, we need to know our population. Election is just around the corner. How will you determine the representation of the people?
But do you think this press conference is funded? It's just being tomorrow. I mean, it's just say tomorrow.
But that doesn't mean you must cancel it. If you go in that room, if, for example, somebody hearing you with the authority, and today, commissioners, if they have commissioners, I told you I haven't very much about it, but they should have commissioners. They will assemble in a room tonight. They will review exactly what the processes are in, because I heard the finance minister and they say a lot of work being done. So if they examine those things and they read these things I'm saying out of not being part of the house, then obviously they should be able to readjust quickly and move ahead.
That's it for my age. I really want to know.
No.
In census?
Am I recounting?
Yes, please.
Where you go recounting?
I mean, I'm traveling out of the country and you take my numbers down, me and my family, and then you.
Well, in census, they got something called de jure.
De jure.
De jure factor and de facto.
Yeah.
Two. I don't know which one is being adopted, but we adopted even before you start your planning station. So if you're doing a de facto census, is at this date, those people that we find walking around with the parameters of Liberia, then you can't count because they put their full out.
Yeah.
When the minister goes to
okay.
changes I work for Prime Minister, okay? You know very well, just as I do, the group Haruna character rights, the whole region for the system, including embezzlement, clean of non-payment, then protest and whatsoever. Are you skeptical, optimistic, or pessimistic about the whole process?
I just indicated to you. If we sat back and look at all those things you mentioned, certainly between now and tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock or something, cleaning it up will be a little bit difficult. So the question is, given that difficulty, should we hold a census or shouldn't we just forget about it and go to the elections? And my answer is no, because those things that we just mentioned here, with a serious, committed, professional group, you can sort them out. You can sort them
yes.
out.
I'm Horace Godin, I report for the Voice of Liberia. I'm concerned about the timeliness of the speech. Over time, you have stayed in Liberia, you follow the whole process, the census, of the monarchy. There are then claims and counterclaims. You side with providing any knowledge towards that, not until tomorrow we are heading towards census. So my question is, why should Liberians take you serious, especially in relations to the state?
Well, you haven't been following. This conversation started, I had this conversation maybe a month ago. Remember what was in your studios? And what I'm reading from is exactly what I took into the stadium. So I've already handled that on this because the reason why I decided to do this today is because the danger that is ahead of us, if it is not done properly and the figures are wrong, it will be challenged.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Togar from Finally. Sir, you are, as you indicated, you were one of the experts when it comes to the issue of census, because you were there before you find who created this list. This list is not working alone. This list is working with international partners. I'm sure who have vast experience when it comes to the conduct of the housing and population census. If they are not seeing these irregularities you're speaking of, I mean the international partners in the voting along with this, how then do we know that in fact things are not okay? Because these are the partners who are also giving money to the process, but they are not saying anything. If it seems to be okay, what is coming out of everything that the minister says is okay with the process. You know, I told you 5 years, this thing has been in planning. And you know why it took 5 years? Because along those 5 years, international community breaks. The government was on this side on what they want to do, how they want to do it. The international community breaks. In fact, when about 2 years ago, there was this friction between government and international community on the use of census resources and the holding of the census was delayed. And those two groups that brought together to solve the problem. And I was commissioned by the UN to bring these two groups and solve the problem. After that problem was solved, in terms of okay, we will stay to do the census, implementation started. The other time there was one of the CTA. The CTA, the Chief Technical Advisor to the Census, who is well experienced. He came out and he made a statement. Putting forward their apprehension. Number one. Number two, in diplomacy, when the international community person goes there, he's there to work for the government. And it's what you learn into it and how you approach government, you are to be very, very careful, diplomatic. And again, as I said, I've been involved in that country. When I'm looking straight at the country and I know the government is doing something this way, I will be telling them in different ways, diplomatically. I will not come out bouncing. And so, when somebody is speaking, you want to say, is that diplomatic talk? Or what you say, real? So, there has been a conflict between the international group and our group. And that conflict got to a place where the UNFPA country director decided he was going to transfer the census money back to headquarters. And then they called me, can you help? And the man said, the UN system said, please come and solve this problem for us. So I called the government, I called the UN people, and we started for 3 days. I found it to find a workable solution. And that was 2 years ago.
Okay, gentlemen, we see all the questions. They need to one now. So we entertain 2 more questions. Yes, sir. 2 more. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. McIntosh. You earlier said that one of the ways to ensuring a credible or accurate census is that the motivation of the people should be motivated to allow themselves to be counted. And then you said that that aspect of motivating the people has not yet been done. Can you please tell us what is that aspect that you
The aspect is You know, we're going to elections, right? There's something we call awareness. I was there, before you go to election, like awareness thing, you put up posters, you take vehicles, you go group discussions. We have not done. Do you see anything around? All the countries that are doing census, as soon as you get the airport, they'll go. National census. America is there. On every car, they will have their sticker. The population has a census. You have publicizing it. Then you have discussion panel, town hall meetings, and tell the people why is it important that you should be counted. You know what I mean? Why we should count you, your husband, your children. What's in there for them? You have to sensitize them. People are always scattered up. So you have to go there and do this awareness. And that awareness has to be seen, heard. It's not assumed. Now, I just asked you a question. Have you seen one vehicle anywhere that says census taking place? No. Have you seen people discussing about? No. When you go to market houses, they send you to go and mark and say, this one will be counted. You meet somebody in a house. Your job is not to go with prayer and just start marking somebody to go. You will have been trained to tell them why you are marking their house. What benefit will they bring to them from marking their house? That excites them. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, the last question from us.
Yes, Mr. McIntosh and Togar, I report for a school like on television. At this crucial time, Mr. McIntosh, what advice do you have to tell the HSCO, those carrying the census in this crucial time?
Well, maybe I should try to answer that question in my conclusive remarks. My conclusion. You say that's our last question? Yeah. I will, for example, I will be talking to the legislature. And I will be telling them, we welcome your current effort. We welcome your current effort to make sure that we conduct the census. But there are some very concerns that must be handled if we want to show good results. First thing I will tell them. The second thing I will tell them, the importance of this exercise cannot not be here. We're going to elections. We're going to go into a new development agenda. The COCO agenda is coming to an end. You cannot write a development plan in the absence of knowledge about your society and your population. Because you're doing it for the people. So I will tell them, okay, it is important what you want to do. So please, don't downplay the level of importance that you must attach to this thing. 3, I will tell them, those major actors who I just mentioned earlier, commissioners, this and that, please let's make sure that they are effective in doing their job. That's why I say those things have been done not overnight, but within a relatively period of time. You can handle these things if you really want to do it. And then I will also tell them, look, this thing you're doing is very important for us, Liberia, and the country to mobilize resources. Because you can't go to the World Bank and be talking in vacuum. You can't. If you went to the World Bank, they say Liberia needs $50 million. And all you say there, I can guarantee you the one outside will have $50 million. Because the kind of decision they make there, the basis of making a decision, population plays a major role. Population plays a major role. Then I will conclude and I say, my people are there. We are in this dilemma today. You know why we are in this dilemma? We are in this dilemma because 5 years we've been talking about this one. So we find ourselves here today. And I'm not just talking about government in terms of president. I'm not talking about government government in terms of president, vice president, no. I'm talking about the totality of government. And I'm saying we are here because we have effective leadership at each one of those places. You got a legislative, you got Senate, they got a middle. In fact, this thing is inside their lap. So, leadership, commitment, the lack of commitment, the whole question of corruption, the one that I don't want to talk about today because the minister said they are all under investigation. Incompetence. Incompetence. And I know what I'm talking about. The human capacity to be able to carry out census. Go to that house, building. Have a sheet of paper. How many people in this room here are statisticians? You may not find 3. That is a serious business. Then the question of ineptitude. These are the things that are here. Then the lack of understanding, and the disregard for good governance. Because you can't be talking about development. And the reason I came there for your information, I do teach graduate students at the Federal University. And today we were discussing in the lab, this one basic thing I was talking about, the governance issues for sustainable development. And census is a major input into that process. And so if we disregard that kind of thing, then we find ourselves where we are today. So ladies and gentlemen, some of the things I want to share with you this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doug. And thank you for your attendance. We hope that you carry out the message. Just in case anything that you are in doubt, just please call.